A major warning for the UK economy, as the leading think tank says the escalating West Asia conflict could wipe tens of billions of pounds from growth and even push the country towards recession. The concern is being driven by surging energy prices and wider global instability. The National Institute of Economic and Social Research says the ongoing West Asia war between US-Israeli forces and Iran is creating a serious economic shock for the United Kingdom. In its latest outlook, the think tank warns that even in a best-case scenario where the conflict is resolved within this year, the UK economy could still lose around £35 billion, that is $47 billion over 2026 and 2027 combined. That would leave growth significantly weaker than previously expected, with GDP now forecast at just 0.9% in 2026, down from an earlier estimate of 1.4% and only a modest recovery to 1% in 2027. But economists say the bigger risk is a prolonged conflict. The institute warns that if the crisis drags on, the UK could enter a recession in the second half of the year, as higher energy prices filter through the economy and hit households and businesses. The inflation is also expected to remain volatile. It is currently at 3.3%, but it's forecast to rise further and potentially peak at 4% in January next year, driven largely by energy costs linked to supply disruption from West Asia. The pressure is also expected to affect interest rates. The Bank of England is set to meet this week with rates currently at 3.75%. Reports predict rates could rise to 4% by July and in a more severe scenario could climb as high as 5.25% if inflation persists. That would mean higher borrowing costs for mortgages, loans and businesses across the UK. The think tank says the root of the problem is global energy instability caused by the conflict, which is pushing up oil and gas prices and feeding directly into inflation and economic slowdown. So while the conflict is thousands of miles away, its economic impact is already being felt in the UK. Economists warn the combination of higher energy prices, rising inflation, and potential interest rate hikes could put the country's growth under serious strain in the months ahead.